Hey everybody, welcome, and thank you for listening to this episode of Marriage Therapy Radio. My name is Zach. I'm here with Laura. We are here. We recorded this episode the day before International Women's Day. And I don't know, I think it's a pretty cool holiday to have, but I also think that every day should be Women's Day because women are amazing. And I don't mind telling you about that here on the podcast. I had a mini revelation again this week that I've had often, but I share it with Laura on the podcast. We also share a couple of really cool resources that are newly available for you if you're looking to level up in your relationship. There's an online kind of mastermind that we're going to tell you about, as well as the Art and Science of Love, the workshop that Laura and I are teaching for the Gottman Institute. That's later this month. We're going to offer you discount codes for both. And, you know, this is one of those meandering episodes, but I think there will be some takeaways for you because this is a very cool conversation. Stick around.
I really want to enter my 40th year, which is to me seems like middle age, right? I'm going to be middle age and I would like to be as strong as I possibly can. I would love to be feeding my body just really nutritious food. I want my cells to be clean.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want to be healthy.
I have the recommendation for you. You should have your blood taken out and then they're going to mix it up with some oxygen, some ozone. Yeah. They put it back in you and you're like all fixed. You're like, you're crisp as a cucumber. Yeah.
Perfect. I think what I'd like is I would like for Kim Kardashian's blood to be put into me.
Oh, gross.
And then maybe I will look like her and sound like her.
There's two things I want to talk about that. And this is one of them. I want to say something about something. I think women are amazing.
Yes.
I was watching the U.S. women's national team last night. And this is my favorite team. It's my favorite sport to watch women's soccer. And Alex Morgan is on the team. She's been running around forever. She's clearly one of the
brunette.
Yeah, she's one of the best players ever to do it in the U.S. national team. She's aging out. She's definitely getting older. She's a veteran now. There's lots of young talent. It's a question mark about how quick she is and whether or not she's ready for elite soccer. But the woman created a human baby.
Yeah,
herself.
Yeah.
She lived her whole life. She was a little girl. Then she became a soccer player. Then she became an elite soccer player. Then she got married. Then she made a baby.
Yeah.
Created the baby. The baby came out of her body. And now she's playing at the very, very top of the sport again. And listen, I know people do this all the time. I know women do this all the time. And I don't know why I'm in awe of it in this particular case, but I just think it's absolutely incredible that you guys make people. And I don't know why I'm not in awe of like the natural world, you know, like horses and turtles and, you know, birds that make babies. But I think it's absolutely insane that you can do that and then kind of go back to normal. So God bless you, Laura. Heck, if you want to be the fittest you've ever been in your whole life at 40, after you made a person, then by all means, go for it. I think it's insane. And every time I want to get like upset about something or somehow I get, people start defending the patriarchy to me or whatever it is, I'm just like, women make people. And by the way, when I was in Costa Rica and I was listening to all these couples be courageous and like really go for it with their selves, it was the women who were leading. Like the women were like, I want more. I want better. I want you to raise the stakes. So all these men out there who think that they're like the shit, which is fine. You're allowed because whatever. You're wrong though, because women are the shit.
It just reminds me of here you are saying amazing things about women. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to just dumb it down for a second. My husband literally turned to our 9-year-old son and he said, Holden, at some point, somebody is going to say a derogatory term to you and they're going to be referencing the female genitalia. They're going to call you a name and they're going to reference the female genitalia and it's going to be a derogatory term. Are we all on the same page as to what word I am referring to?
Yeah.
Okay. And my husband said, do you have any idea what a freaking compliment that is? And like, this is the conversation that we are all having in the vehicle. And Holden goes, what do you mean? And he goes, think about it, Holden. Like that part of the body is capable of pushing out a human being and it literally snaps back into place. I mean, it doesn't really snap back into place, if you know what I mean, but he just said, think about it. They're strong, they're flexible, they're hardy. Like he was just, Ryan out of the blue was telling Holden, next time when somebody, because it's going to happen, refers to you by that P word, and they're referencing the female genitalia, you look them dead in the eye and say, thank you so much for that compliment.
Yeah.
And I just was like, yeah, get it, Ryan. Like unprompted.
Sarah Silverman, the comedian, she has a similar bit on her most recent special where she talks about how she hears people say, that guy needs to grow some balls. You need to grow some balls. You need to get some, like, toughen up, man, get some balls. And she's like, literally aren't balls like the most fragile thing possible? She has this whole bit that she goes on, and then she's like, so my new thing is get some lips.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
this is
hardy.
So Alex Morgan made me think of this, but here's another thing that I actually Googled this because I wanted to know what you thought about it. Well, I wanted to know about it. Do you know this thing called the man flu? Does Ryan get the man flu?
I will tell you, yes.
100% last week, I got the man flu. I went to a hockey game on Thursday. I woke up Friday with a runny nose.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have thought I was going to die for like 3 days. I literally was so miserable and sad. And Rebecca started making fun of me. And at first I got defensive about it. And I was like, no, I am pathetic.
Yes.
This is absolutely ridiculous because I didn't want to like get up and could you make me some soup? And literally I had a cold, I had a head cold. Yeah. And I still kind of have it, but I'm okay now. But it took me like 4 full days to recover from a head cold. And Rebecca was like, I have the same cold as you right now. And I am just going about my day, doing my stuff, and I'm not complaining. Right. I was like,
that's right.
But I Googled it because I wanted to know if it was real. And I'll tell you about it in a second. But tell me about your man flu situation.
Oh, well, I mean, yes, my husband 100%. And I've told this story on the podcast that like when my husband and I met each other, when I get sick, I was raised by a single mom, and being the child of a single mom meant that if you got sick, number one, if you got sick as a single mom, you just carried on. You just sucked it up and you popped it, a couple of cough drops in your pocket and you went about your day. And as the child of a single mom, you don't have the luxury of being able to stay home from school. And if you did, if you were sick enough to stay home from school, you had to be by yourself. There was no television because my mom didn't want to glorify or reward sick children that stayed home from school. But basically, it was like, go in your room, close the curtains. Here's a glass of water. I'll be home from work in 9 hours. That was what happened when I was 6 years old, right?
Yeah.
All right, I probably wasn't 6. I was probably 10 years old. Now, when my husband, on the other hand, got sick, his mom would go to the store and get him every homeopathic crap ingredient. I'm saying this literally in her home. She's on the other side of the door. Judy Heck, this is her. I am making fun of her.
Yeah.
But whenever Ryan gets sick, I have to go to the store and I have to get orange juice and all of the homeopathic crap, echinacea, whatever, the neti pot. You've heard the neti pot story.
Yeah.
So that's my husband. So he gets really, really sick, but he also watched me give birth without any sort of drugs I was on a stool birthing this child. At one point I was facing the opposite direction on the toilet, pushing, bearing down. And after that, he was like, I don't know if I have any room to complain about anything. I literally watched you, give birth to this child without any sort of drugs. And then the next day we took the kid for like a 3-mile walk in the stroller. And I was like, if I can perk up the next day and do this, you don't need to have any man flu symptoms.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have man flu in my household. So what did you Google?
I Googled, is man flu really a thing?
Yeah.
And it really is. I mean, apparently I found this article in the Harvard Business Review or the Harvard Health Publishing. And it talks about how, like, in fact, indeed, men and women are wired differently in terms of their, like what they're immune to, like their immune systems and how their immune systems respond to things. I don't think it's justifying man flu, but it is saying, like, in these 4 different kinds of studies, it was found that men often have a heightened sense of symptomology than women do. Here's one that says men were hospitalized with the flu more than women. survey found that men reported taking longer. Here's one. A survey by a popular magazine found that men reported taking longer to recover from flu-like illnesses than women. A survey from a popular magazine. That might as well have just been like Men's Health or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I guess my point was that in my enlightened and evolved state lately, I was aware.
Congratulations on your enlightened state,
I was
Zach.
aware of how much I wanted to get defensive about Rebecca making fun of me. And then I realized, like, I really can't. I really need to still agree with her that I am pathetic and that this is, that I'm being a big dumb baby. And, you know, if there's a lesson in here for people listening, maybe it's this whole idea of like picking your battles and maybe just letting people win because they're right more often than they're wrong. I don't know if that's exactly the right way to put it, but like I didn't need to get defensive about somebody being right about the fact that I was being pathetic.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we go into this whole like adaptive child language, like I literally was being, and maybe Ryan does too, like a little boy, you know, and who wants to grapple with a little boy in their house? Nobody.
But I do think that there's a time and a place to say, I am unwell, I'm in pain, and I want to be cared for. I think there is a time and a place in the relationship to be able to say that. But it also should not be like the burden of, hey, I'm going to moan on the couch over here. Oh, you don't hear me. I'm going to moan even louder on the couch. Like it's not necessarily my responsibility to take care of you. But I don't know. I think it's lovely in relationships to want to care for the other person when they're unwell. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go with this. I do have a theory that because females are dealing with a cyclical pain every single month, we just learn to adapt and move on. Like the world doesn't stop. We don't sit on our bucket in the red tent every single week our period shows up. Like we have to adapt and move on. And it's uncomfortable and it's a pain in the butt. But I think that personally, I just think that we learn to just sort of deal with discomfort, pain, migraines. There's all sorts of things that come up every single month that we're just kind of trained for over time.
Well, it doesn't seem fair. I'm sorry about that for you guys.
That's all right. You guys have delicate balls between your legs. So that's a bummer.
I guess we have other burdens. Hey gang, in this episode, we've been talking a little bit about resources that are available to you if you want to level up in your relationship. And there's no shortage out there. There are workshops, which can be amazing. There are self-help books, there's therapy, there's even podcasts, as you know. But I want to draw your attention again to this app called Paired. It's the app that Rebecca and I have been using to stay connected, and we really dig it. Paired is an app for couples. You and your partner download the app and you pair together every day. It gives you questions, quizzes, games to have fun and stay connected and deepen your conversations. Rebecca and I, we use it pretty often. Sometimes we'll lapse though. And one of the things I realized that I like about it is that it doesn't embarrass you or shame you if you skip a little while. I famously tried one of those learning a new language apps, and it was always like making fun of me when I would miss it. But this doesn't do that. This instead, it sort of prompts you with different challenges or different just conversation starters. When Rebecca and I use it, we will find ourselves maybe filling out a couple and then having something to talk about later at the dinner table. We recently got a question about the most beautiful drive we've ever been on, and we had to describe it in detail. We both were able to reminisce about the places that we grew up and some of the most beautiful drives that we've been on. Mine happens to be in the mountains of Virginia, and it was fun just to reconnect and kind of tell those stories in ways that we hadn't told before. I know that for some people, figuring out what to talk about is hard. And I've been saying more and more lately that if you're going to level up in the relationship, you have to do it through conversation. And so Paired is a great tool to help you do that. Whether you're just on a few dates or you've been together for a really long time, try lightening the mood and have fun with your partner by using Paired. I want you to head to paired.com/MTR. You'll get a 7-day free trial and 25% off if you sign up for a subscription. Just head to paired.com, paired.com/MTR and sign up today. Connect with your partner every day using Paired. A happier relationship starts here. I wanted to answer another question, or I wanted to speak to a question you asked last week because I have an answer that we have an opportunity to talk about, which is you asked if I could do any one workshop that, like if you could sign up for any one workshop. I mentioned Terry Real's boot camps, and I got a couple of emails just saying, hey, well, how do I find those? And literally type into Google Terry Real boot camp, And it'll take you to the page that has all of those. And again, some of those are online, some of those are in person. Laura and I have this Gottman expertise, and we do the 7 Principles workshop every now and again. In a few weeks, we're doing the Art and Science of Love for the Gottman Institute. They have hired us to execute their kind of flagship program, which is really in depth, and you get a lot of personal support. If that's something you're interested to, you can go to Gottman.com and search out the Art and Science of Love. And I think
it's
there's
virtual,
a discount
so
code.
you
It's
can
called
do it anywhere.
MTR 2014 2024. MTR 2024 will get you $100 off. Yeah, you can do that from anywhere. It's virtual. But I wanted to tell you about one more. We had some guests on our podcast a while back, Chris Bruno and Tracy Johnson, who
They were awesome.
Some marriage support out of Colorado. They do that themselves. You can go check out their interview. I'll make sure to note it in the introduction. I can't remember exactly which one it was. But they're running through this year something called the Thrive Marriage Lab. And the Thrive Marriage Lab is, I think, the way I would describe it is it's a really good container. If I think about Costa Rica and why Costa Rica was so valuable for those couples, they had a container that held their journey, in this case for a week, in this case around erotic intelligence. Chris and Tracy are running a lab for couples. It would be especially relevant for couples who identify like as Christian couples or who value kind of the Christian worldview as part of their home base as they think about it. But it's an annual program that has sort of a cohort feel. There is curriculum, there is personal support, there is teaching, there is regular accountability. If that's something that you might be interested in, they offered us a discount code for you to use,
nice.
Which we will pass on. And you can go to Restory, that's RESTORY.live. No, it's Restory.life. So Restory.life/thrive. And you can use the code MTR. And I think that gets you $20 off a month. But I've talked to Chris a bunch of times about this and kind of figured out whether or not it would be a meaningful thing for our folks to use. And it's pretty clear. If you are a Christian couple looking for support in your relationship in that way, and you want something that feels like a kind of a journey that you can take with others, it is kind of over a series of months, and they go through a very specific kind of 12 category curriculum. Check it out. Again, you can go to restory.life/thrive, and you can learn more about that. And if you use the code MTR, you get $20 off each month. So I don't know if that's you. I don't know if that's you and your partner that you need to share it with. But again, we wanted to make that available to you because I maintain what I always maintain, which is that couples therapy doesn't work, podcasts don't work, workshops don't work, self-help books don't work, couples work, and couples need to find the right context in which to work. And so we can go from there. This might be it for you. So again, you can look up Terry Real's workshops. They're called boot camps, Terry Real Boot Camp. The Gottman Institute has the Art and Science of Love coming up with Laura and I. I think that's in just a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
And this Thrive Marriage Lab would be really cool for you to check out if that sounds up your alley. But I wanted to make sure to hit all that before we moved on to whatever the next topic was, which I don't even know what it is.
And I looked it up. Their episode is 282. So if you're interested in learning more about Chris and Tracy, did I catch those names correctly? I think so. Then
did I catch those names correctly? I know it's Chris Bruno, and I think her name is Tracy Johnson, but
it is Tracy Johnson of Restory. So that's 282, your deeper story with our podcast. All right. That's pretty cool. That's a great reminder. I was really thinking today about risk taking, or I was thinking about it yesterday, kind of in a sexual context as well, because I was working with a couple and we were kind of talking a little bit about risk taking and growth and what does it mean to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. And here's a question that I have for you. When in your life, Zach, do you think you have done the most growing? Because you just kind of said like you're sort of in this like enlightened space. And I'm like, okay, so when you tell me that you've done a lot of, you're feeling enlightened, I'm like, but you must have had a lot of growth. But I'm kind of curious from you, when do you think in your life you've done the most growing?
The easy answer that pops into my head just like really fast is once I got sober. Like, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Once I quit drinking, which is right at the end of 2020, I I had kind of a renaissance of growth, mostly because I got a new brain. And I mean, I literally got a new brain. Like your brain purges out all of the toxic cell systems and patterns over the course of the next months or years. And so all of the cloudiness and all of the fog and all of the like kind of the stagnation that I had collected over say the previous 10 or 20 years, I just kind of churned out. And so for me, whether it's growth interpersonally or growth professionally, the easy answer is it's been over the last 3 years. There have of course been other periods, but if you're just asking me a question to start a conversation, that's what I would say for now.
Yeah. Well, and that 100% aligns with what my thinking is, which is you had to do something really hard in order to do that. Like in order to grow, you had to do something really difficult, probably relatively new to you. And it certainly wasn't easy, but it pushed you in a lot of different ways. And the result was that you grew immensely in a relatively short amount of time. So
I think that's true. If I think about the other period that I would name, it would be after I moved to Seattle, which was after I'd gotten married and I'd been married for 2 years. And I felt like I had really just hit a wall. I didn't know what to do professionally. I didn't know what to do personally because nobody had taught me how to be married. And then I came out here to go to graduate school. And at that point, I really sort of as an adult invested in my personal growth and learning. You know, when you're a kid and you're just sort of like this is Mary's number one complaint right now is she's only going to school because she's been told to go to school. Like it's just the system that she's bought into. She's not choosing anything for herself. Yeah. And so I think once I started to choose learning for myself, that was hard. And of course I uprooted my whole family at the time was just two of us, but like I moved out of a thing that was very comfortable for me and into a brand new place. So that was a big risk as well. So is that consistent with your theory?
Totally. I was just thinking about ways in which couples get really stagnant. They are in a place of just kind of feeling stale. And gosh, you used a word which I really liked, which was kind of like describing the cells in your body. Like they just were kind of like collecting and just sort of like not moving, not doing anything. And I've been doing a lot of research on this idea of like zombie cells and what happens as you age. And they just kind of basically collect on each other and they don't have a function. And there's no way of cleaning them up or anything like that. I don't know where I'm going with this whole zombie cell idea, but I am thinking about couples that are feeling stale and also curious what couples can do in order to experience growth and change. And a lot of it is like, what is the next hard thing that you can do as a couple? Yeah. That's going to force you into some area of growth. And why I was thinking about that was what workshop would I attend with my partner that would actually put me in an uncomfortable situation. And, attending Terry Real's boot camp probably wouldn't put me, Laura Heck, in an uncomfortable situation with my husband. But there is one in particular that I was like, this would probably be pretty stinking uncomfortable. And it's an erotic, like going to like a sensate focused or erotic focused workshop, which I've been dying to do, but that scares me a little bit. And I know that because it scares me a little bit, that's likely where I'm going to experience the most growth and shift and change in my relationship. So I guess I get really excited when couples come to me for the first time and I can tell they're really nervous and maybe they burst into tears within the first 15 minutes, which is very common, by the way, if you've ever done that, where you're, starting to tell your story and you burst into tears. My assumption is that this is hard. You're doing hard things in order to get to see me. And I know because you're doing that hard thing, and this was not an easy decision, and it's certainly not easy to start sharing your story, that you're going to have a lot of growth because of it. So anyway,
I think, I've said it a million times. I will say it. I say it. I hope you hear me out there in listener land. Like, I think the people on the planet I have the most respect for are my clients, because if as couples who are struggling, they're doing something that a lot of couples aren't doing, which is asking for help. And I think that is, maybe that's the hard thing that you have to do. But you know what? I don't think I know this answer for you, Laura. Like, what is when you think about where you've grown or where you've risked, what would you say? Like, what would you and Ryan say if you said it together?
I think we grew the most as a couple when we moved to Salt Lake. So it was a really new experience for us. Ryan was kind of in what I would describe like his big first, maybe not his first break, but we moved from Washington. We had a 6-week-old, which was tougher. I think he was a 6-month-old. Maybe he was a 6-month-old by the time we moved. I was a new mom, and we were moving to a whole new location where we didn't know anybody, and we were needing to make friends. I was trying to figure out how to be a parent. There was just a lot of growth. Like, I don't know if you remember, but you and I did a lot of really cool things.
Yeah.
I launched my business and my private practice in Salt Lake. We started For Better. There was just a lot of like a movement, I would say, and personal growth.
Yeah.
And that's what I would look at when I was feeling most inspired is the word I would use. Yeah.
Right on.
Cool.
What's next for you? What's your next big risk? Do you know?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm going to attempt to run a marathon. I'm in the best shape
of my life by the time I'm 40.
Yeah. I'm going to attempt to run a marathon. That's new and different, and I have never done that before, and that seems really scary to me. I don't think that there's much professionally that I will start doing that's new and different. I don't know what that's going to look like, to be honest. What else is on your mind? What's happening?
I don't know. I'm still kind of coming down off of this, like trying to metabolize the learning from my trip. And kind of just trying to figure out, it's weird. Right this second, I'm in a pretty, like blue sky period. Like I don't have anything I'm working on except for going into my client office. Like we're done with the book. That might be interesting to talk about. Like Laura and I have been working on a book project for the last 4 or 5 months. That will come out in September, but it's been a pretty heavy lift for us, independent
for
of
Zach. Not for me.
Well, we collaborated, and it was a really fun project. It just ended up being a little bit heavier than we thought, but but I'm done with that for now. And you're done with that for now, but I'm done with that for now. I don't have, the next thing I have to do is teach with you, which is in a few weeks. I have a little bit of like refreshing preparation to do, but for the most part, I get to go to work, do my client load, come home, and then like the sun's starting to come out and kind of figure out like what to do with this kind of literal blue sky. So in the couples world, I don't know. I got to find my next adventure. Maybe that's what this episode is about, is figuring out how to transcend your atrophy or your sort of symptomology into something that looks like growth and thriving.
Yeah. That's funny because I have some clients where I asked them like, what are you all about this year? What's your goal, or what's your word, or whatever? And I think their word was like pause. We don't want anything new. I don't want growth. I don't want change. I just want to chill. We want to coast. And I would say that's kind of a little bit where I'm at also right now, is I don't need a new thing. And I've actually started taking things off my calendar in hopes of trying to chill a little bit. But
right on.
I don't know if I need anything new. I feel like I'm just I've been describing to folks, this is an interesting thing. Because I've been a little more vocal with Holden's diagnosis, with trying to raise money and all of that. I have a lot of people in my life that have not been a part of my daily life, but they are special in my heart, that are kind of coming out of the woodwork a little bit. And they're like, oh my God, how are you doing? And it's like they're in a trauma space because of hearing about his diagnosis, and I'm 9 months ahead of them. And I've kind of been sort of wrapping my brain around that a little bit. And then also, strangely enough, combining this with the idea of someone who's coming out either sexually or with their gender identity to parents. And the whole thing is like, I've been living with this for the last 9 months, even though I may not have been sharing it out loud to people. And I have to allow for them to have their experience in real time of being told or uncovering this for the first time. And I've been thinking about that in relationship with when someone comes out to their parents. It's like you have been living in your skin with this, and maybe came to terms and came out to yourself, or just sort of whatever language you want to use. But then when you tell your parents about this, they need to have their time to be able to settle in with that news.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to just sort of like allow people the opportunity to settle into the news on their own, even though I almost feel like I need to comfort them.
Yeah.
And I don't need to comfort them. I just need to let them know, like, yeah, this is big news and I'm 9 months ahead of you, but whatever time you need to take to figure out, and to like adjust to this news on your own as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know why or how I came to that conclusion or how I even got on that topic, but welcome to my brain.
Well, there's a lot that keeps us distracted and keeps us like thinking about this, that, or other thing. I'm thinking about the man flu. You're thinking about actual illness that you're or diagnosis anyway that Holden has. Mm-hmm. There's all this real life things that happen to people as their bodies change and grow. And I think maybe the point is to figure out how to optimize health. I mean, I think you ought to be the healthiest you've ever been at 40. I think we ought to be healthier tomorrow than we were today. And that can be physically, that can be spiritually, that can be emotionally or mentally. Maybe that means you take a workshop or you do a little bit of risk here or there, or the other place. But my motto for this year is like to do things. And so for me, it's just like continue to stretch in some of those places. I mean, I tell you what, in the middle of my flu, I had to stretch by not getting all sassy with Rebecca about the fact that I just wanted to crawl under a blanket and, watch. What did I watch? I watched a lot of stuff. I watched a lot of women's basketball. By the way, did I tell you women are amazing?
Yeah, I'm really pumped that you are pro female. That is really, really cool.
My inner feminist is coming out.
I think women are awesome too. I prefer to be friends with men, but I do think that they're lovely creatures. You're coming down to see me pretty soon, right?
Yeah, I guess so. A couple weeks.
I guess. Yeah. Fingers crossed. I'm going to have to kick the contractors out. I have like 4 contractors in my home at any given time. I got locked into the bathroom. I realized the other day, I don't have a way to actually use a restroom or shower in my home there's no doors. We have no doors anywhere.
That's hot.
And so I asked them for a door, and they put a door, but no handle. And so when I went to take a shower, I ended up locking myself in. And I was like, well, this is a great time to call the fire department because I'm always a big fan of supporting our local fire department.
I am coming down on March the 22nd. The Art and Science of Love online through the Gottman Institute is the 23rd and 24th.
You can register
at Gottman.com. You can use MTR2024 to get a discount. You can check out that Thrive Marriage Lab if you're interested in having something that looks a little bit more long-term and in-depth. And we're just looking forward to, continuing to hang out with you on the radio.
Yeah.
I had a woman, I gave a talk last week and a guy came up to me and before it started, he goes, big fan. I'm a big fan. I goes, excuse me? He goes, yeah, I listen to your podcast and I love everything you're doing. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And then I had the same talk. Somebody was like, yeah, I heard you talk about that on the radio. I was like, that's so cute. Anyway.
Oh man, that's pretty special. It's still a hobby for me. Obviously, we just get on and we start talking at each other and hopefully there's something of any value that might entertain someone or they might walk away with a nugget of wisdom. But for those of you who are still listening to today's episode, thanks for sticking with us.
Here we go. You got to say it.
Let's land it. Let's land this plane.
All right.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Marriage Therapy Radio and sticking with us. Sometimes we just kind of bounce all around. Well, let's be honest, it's just me and Zach tries to pull it back together. So we were talking a little bit about Thrive. So I want to give you the website. It's restory.life/thrive. And when you use the code MTR, you get a discount through us. And then also, if you wanted to join Zach and myself, you can go to the Gottman Institute. I think it's just Gottman.com. Look up the Art and Science of Love. We'll be teaching it mid-March. So that's probably in like a week or two. But you do get $100 off, which is an awesome deal with the code MTR2024. Thanks for all your time and attention and making your relationship better today than it was yesterday.